right, so today I'm going to talk about the JavaScript array method forEach, which is actually pretty straightforward in kind of the purpose of this array, or I'm sorry, this method. So forEach method executes a provided function once for each array element. And I added this little note here to kind of point out a lot of people will confuse for each with map because they're pretty similar, but for each is best used when you simply need to do something with the data. For example, say you have a web application and you have a Places app, and your Places app is stored in an array full of objects. It's a bunch of objects stored in an array. And what you might want to do on your home screen is you might want to print out in the browser all of your different places. And so that would be a great example of what for each would be used for. And so I'll go ahead and show kind of a quick example of how for each would be used here. So all you'd really do, for each, again, doesn't return anything. So there's no point in assigning it to a variable or anything. We're just going to say my places for each. And then here is where we pass in our function on what we're going to do for each place. And one thing to remember is this can be anything. This could be X, this can be Y, it can be place. It doesn't have to be anything in particular. That used to trip me up when I was still learning. So for each place, what we're going to do is we're going to console log the place.name and the place.likes. And that should work, no problem. Let's see, node for each. Yes, and it does. So what we have here is, imagine this is the home screen of your app. You could have each place name and then how many likes you have. And obviously it'd be a lot more complicated than this, but this is just a perfect example of what for each is used for. Typically, when you're working on the front end, you're going to want to loop through a collection of data that you've pulled from your back end and display it to the user. And that's a perfect example of what for each is a great candidate for. And it's a simple example, it's a straightforward example, but just remember, use for each anytime you need to do something with data because it's not going to return anything. And that's an important thing to remember. So anytime you need to print something to the console or print something to the user, for each is a great candidate for that. So hope that was easy, hope that was helpful. Thanks for watching.